It's up to, unfortunately the eyelid is not going to be big enough to hold it, so you're going to have to do a little adjustment there.
You probably use a 12 or 10.
12 or 10, I mean, if you can strike, that is just for extra security, really. So it's just to discharge the actual ID. So 10 or 12, as they said, I think is good.
10 or 12.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to talk about the actual POE injectors. We've been talking about like split systems, but all of those are also pretty good. I mean, they're just ease of installation is a lot better because you just run an Ethernet cable up the tower. However, it has to be a shielded cable. If it's not a shielded cable, the radio will not power on. You guys learned that the hard way? Okay.
On the bench. When we pull it out of the box.
At least it was on the bench. Good. So let's see. The power supply, the power injector we have here. It's open. Yeah. Right? Can you help me open this one up?
Yeah.
So you can do it. Now we'll just find tools.
The train goes.
Oh, I think so. Back of this. Well, Ray helps me with that. I'm going to go briefly over the power. So the POE injector that you can see here at the bottom has two power inputs. That's the power redundancy on it. Okay? How the IDU has the 3-prong here, same thing. Dual power supply there. Now, you have to have different power sources. One's going to be the utility grid, the other one's be the backup gen, or the UPS battery backup. Now, on this type of POE injector, notice there's two sides to it. The right side is the actual data, that's a gigabit connection. The left side is going to be management. This is because our Apex Plus models have two Ethernet ports, right? When you buy this, you can only use the data ports, the gigabit connection. In a pinch, you can use the 100 meg side. It will power the same, but it will all be limited to 100 meg pipe. So, just in case. Now, one thing that I like about this product is, see that grounding, that really beefy grounding there? You can put that before you enter the shelter, or you can actually run it outside. That's what I like about this POE injector. I think it's really nice grounding. Now, we talk about shielded cable, right? Shielded cable, if not, the radio's not going to power up. The best thing to do is terminate the RJ45 with the actual shielded, the metal jacket inside the connector. However, if for some reason we're having problems terminating the jacket, we can always grab the drain wire from the actual shielded cable, put it in the common ground here. That's going to be the best ground you can have. And on the radio, the direct power connector, the left side is the negative. So you can put it on the tower, the drain cable, the drain cable, put it on the connector as well. That is the best grounding you will ever have, and you will have no problems with shielded or the jacket, metal jacket. Okay? Anybody needs any more info? I have a little how-to guide, and it's just pictures of how to connect.
But it's not wrong to use a shielded connector.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm saying this because sometimes, you know, as much as you want, maybe a connector is not the best quality, or you have to solder one at the bottom. At the top of the tower, you have to have, you know, you're crimping things around, so you get frustrated, or, you know, your cable's getting too short. If you take the drain wire out, stick it in the negative of our power supply, that'll be the same as well. That'll be. But it's not wrong to use shielded cable. I mean, that's the first thing you want to do. Mine is just in case you want to proof it, or you're having a lot of trouble with a shielded cable. Yeah. I know that by experience, some integrators told me that Tough Cable had a recall on a couple of their shielded stuff, and they had to, I think Tally had to send out, I don't know how many spools of cable because it was just bad. It wasn't shielded properly. Or over time, the UV protection wasn't done properly, and it just started falling apart. So I think it happened one time. So, you know, things like that, shielded cables. Now, this POE injector, we have, again, one single negative 48 power supply, and the previous you have the data port and the management port. They both are POE injector ports. Okay? If you only use one side, it will look like this, basically. Just your negative 48 and one side is the gigabit connection, so it goes up the tower. This is a redundant power supply, because now we have a secondary negative 48 power supply going to a redundant power and the main power. So that's how it looks like, a single data connection via a PoE device. This is on the manual, by the way. The ODU interfaces. ODUs, as we said before, they have a grounding lock on it. This is not to pinch your finger when you use the BNC cable. This is for grounding. And this is the BNC, and that's the IF connector. Now, I told you guys there was a table, right? Voltage to RSSI. So here's a couple of tables. The bottom one, it's for, I believe, it's for the SL24, because this goes from negative 20 to negative 90, but the voltage goes all the way to 3 volts. And on our Orion links, you go all the way to 4. So when you actually move your antenna around, you're going to have 0.2, 0.3, 1 volt. That means, for example, if you're moving your antenna left and right, and you get a 2.5, you're at negative 30 RSSI. You're good at that point. So this is per radio. So the Orion links have a different table in the SL24 because of the power. Any questions on this? What we covered so far? Installation, grounding. ACM and throughput. So they go hand in hand as well. As you go down lower modulations, throughput is going to get its hit list, but if you have QoS, if it goes down to a lower modulation, you can decide what is going to be my first going across. If you have DHCP tags or priority tags based on VLANs, you can tell it, well, if my link drops to 16 QAM, what should I let go first? Voice, video, or data? Okay. The way we test the actual gear is we run an RFC 2544 test. It runs multiple packet sizes through the link. Now, when I say this, when you turn a customer up a link, you gotta go out and tell them, look, your link is ready to pass 700 meg, 600 megs. That doesn't mean that is the actual download speed of the ISP, okay? People confuse this sometimes. Say, oh, I'm testing my link and it doesn't give me the 700 megs. How are you testing it? Oh, I'm on the other side of the link and I do speedtest.net and I only get 150 megs. Well, that's fine, okay? That's testing the ISP download speed. The way you commission a link is you either have to run an RFC 2544 with a handheld unit, preferably either a Fluke, Ideal, Exfo, always quality Exfo gear, and you run the RFC. What's going to happen is it's going to send as much amount of packets that it can, all the way from 64 byte size packets to 1500 byte size packets. I don't believe it does jumbo frame size packets, 96 byte size packets, but I believe you can configure that. So this is a little demo of our Expo that we did. Latency, how we configure each port. So you can see the frame sizes from 64 to 1518 byte size packets. This is roughly what you get on Apex Plus. So this is an RFC 2544 result. 70 bytes to 1518, you get 374. Now these are UDP packets. TCP packets will be a little less, okay? Radio traffic. Now you see here, this is layer 2 and layer 3. Latency. This is going to be on the microseconds scale. And the RFC is going to give you this already for you. There's handhelds that can do the Expo, and we have Ideal, small testers. You literally connect them. Now when you run the test, you're going to connect it from data port to data port. Do not put them on the switch. You're going to make a real flooding on the network really fast. You're going to get calls from everyone. Say, hey, what happened? I'm not getting anything because the switch is flooded. Okay? It's looking for a destination MAC of the far side device. So you gotta put it in the actual data port of the IDU or the OMU. Okay? Point to point. the Orion setup.